Hey everybody, good morning. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about corrupted signal data and Relic 10. Now, this isn't a video about whether or not Relic 10 is worth it for you at any individual level, but rather how I am planning to go about tackling corrupted signal data for the future. I know that we've already seen corrupted signal data packs. I have valued them, they are on my data sheets. But I haven't talked about them, I haven't released them, and I haven't really discussed my plan going forward. As always, if you find this information helpful, please subscribe. It does help me. And with that said, let's get into it. So, corrupted signal data is interesting because it is the first new signal data added since the Relic system was first added to the game, and it is in the scavenger as well. And a lot of players are not really sure how to interact with it. How I'm going to interact with it as an end game player is going to probably be slightly different from a mid game player or an early game player. That is to say, if you're in the mid game or the early game, I honestly recommend using your Coliseum rewards towards lightspeed tokens to advance your roster further and to completely ignore Relic 10 right now, especially with it not being needed anywhere in the game. If any new requirements come to the game where Relic 10 is needed, this isn't like the old Droid Brains where you were reliant on your guild. This is something that you can do on your own. And I'm not going to say you're going to be able to do it very quickly as an earlier mid game player, but I am going to say that CG does typically give us enough notice where if you are not a spender, you will have the time to acquire it in the time frame that works for you. And if you are a spender, then it doesn't matter because we're already a few weeks in offering packs to advance that track. But how exactly am I going to go ahead and farm this and make sure that as an end game player, I have the corrupted signal data that I need in order to progress? And that is what we are here to talk about today. Now, first of all, we are going to pop on over to my charts, and I do want to show you guys this from the corrupted signal data bundle. And these crystal values are based on the conversion rates of the store value of the other signal datas. But we have been seeing a $10 corrupted signal data bundle, which gives you gray, green, and blue signal data, as well as 7 corrupted signal data. And for $10, even if we take the corrupted signal data out of this, we are seeing about $7.50 in value. And now, obviously, that is lower than the $10 cost. But once we add that corrupted signal data in, we are seeing about a $22 or $23 valuation. Now, if I were to change this to something that is a little bit closer to the farming values, and I'm just guessing off the top of my head, well, not guessing, I'm making a hypothesis or remembering my math from earlier, it should be somewhere around here. You are still seeing about $19 in value. And that is to say that if you are a spender, this is worth it. But this video isn't just this pack is worth it. But that isn't to say that this video is only for the spenders, and that is not the only thing that we are talking about. Because within the game itself, there is a way to earn signal data with. Here it is with MK3. And I contend that that MK3 corrupted signal data is a huge trap that nobody should fall for. Please do not purchase corrupted signal data with MK3. I promise you that there are better ways to go about doing this. Now, if you are in the position of a player like myself at 14 million or above, you are going to find your need for fragmented or incomplete signal data not disappearing, but at least being a lot less than it was in the past. Whereas your flawed signal data definitely sees a huge increase in need. And that is to say that with so many more new sources, such as the free to play episode pass, as well as sometimes seeing it in the weekly shipments, though I'm kind of not sold on buying this myself, I am finding my earlier signal datas are starting to build up, which allows me to get some of this corrupted signal data in a way that does not involve my MK3. I definitely think that your arrow magnifiers, your impulse detectors, and your gear to keypads are far more important, not only because you need way more of them to get to R10, but also because the conversion rates are a lot better in this store to being, let's see, for two. We're looking at somewhere around 35 to 40% difference, right? 750 in the actual price. And that does not make me excited to make that purchase. But if you don't believe me just begging you with this screen right here, we are going to pop over to something else that I did. Our signal data conversion rates. And these are based off of farming values, not off of store values. But if we look at the different signal datas here and the conversion rates in order to get your corrupted signal datas and the cost to farm, we see that even though the conversion rate for flawed signal data is much higher, because of the reduced drop rate, it's actually far more expensive to farm flawed signal data in order to convert. And why would we want to, right? Because flawed signal data is in such high demand, and it makes the most sense to farm that fragmented signal data, even though it has the smallest conversion rate, because you are getting a lot more of it per pull. But when we look at those costs to farms, right, 235 we'll take as our bottom value here. And then we look at the cost to farm a gear to keypad. It's actually more expensive to farm a gear to keypad than it is to farm a corrupted signal data. Now, granted, there are other sources of gear to keypads through the Get3 as well as just through TB. And you are going to see a lot more sources of various G12 gear through the Guild, what's the name of the store? Guild Event Store and the Shard Shop Store. So you are going to be able to accrue gear to keypads more naturally. But if you are in a position where you need to farm it, it is more expensive to do that, to expedite the process of something than it is to farm the corrupted signal data, of which you only need 10 versus the typical 20 for your keypads. And similarly for the arrow magnifiers, with a conversion rate of 9 and needing Chirotech and G12 right here, you're seeing a cost to farm of 368 crystals per one. Now, again, Chirotech does build up, G12 does build up. Are you going to be scavenging in order to get this material? I'm not 100% sure, but I will tell you that as an endgame player, I am constantly running out of arrow magnifiers. I am constantly needing to bolster them. Right now, I have 350, which seems like a lot, but my stash used to be 1500, and I buy them at every single refresh when my raid rewards support it. So that is all to say that corrupted signal data is the cheapest thing to farm. So it makes more sense to worry about your crystals there than worrying about your keypad or arrow magnifier crystals. Now, for droid brains, which are not here on this pack, I haven't put it on here yet. I will say, just based on the scavenge values, and we will pull that up here, just based on that scavenge value, going from needing, what is it, 175, droid brains needing 245, and using pretty much the same exact materials, that you're going to see these being more expensive than arrow magnifiers. But that is kind of irrelevant because you cannot buy droid brains with RAID 3. So, how am I going about handling my corrupted signal data? It's a great question, and really it has a boring answer. And it just comes down to I am making sure to squirrel away things now so that I don't have to worry about it later. So it comes down to, if you remember the old parable of the grasshopper and the ant would save these little seeds for winter, and the grasshopper would just kind of dance around and be like, "YOLO, I'm gonna have fun and I'm gonna fuck bitches and you enjoy your time." And the ant's like every day just getting all of this food to make sure that he'd be fine for winter. And then once winter comes, the ant is fine in his ant hill, and the grasshopper is screwed and apparently learns its lesson instead of dying. That is where I am taking my corrupted signal data lesson, in that because I mostly need flawed signal data right now, and because I am strongly trying to build Relic 8 and Relic 9 teams, and I'm not seeing as much of a need for my fragmented or my incomplete signal data, not to say that that need is gone. Anytime that I see that those signal datas are starting to bolster up to a larger amount, so you see I have 500 of the gray signal data, only 300 of the blue signal data, even though I farm this literally every single day with every amount of Cantina energy that I have, even through these bonus drops going on right now. Anytime that I see this number start to inch up way higher than the numbers of the other signal datas, I just give it a little tap, and I'm hoarding away that corrupted signal data for later. Now, it may seem wasteful for some people, but in reality, any roster increases that I can do right now in the short term that are going to be affected by that fragmented signal data are just for fun roster advances. They are characters that I don't necessarily need to bring up, that I'm not using in GAC, that I would do just to bolster my GP and to say that I've done it. So the way that I see it right now is that by utilizing those resources in a smart way for the future, I can future proof myself to make sure that I am ready. So if you have only watched a small portion of this video, your TLDR right now is I will not be spending get RAID 3 on corrupted signal data at all. It is 100% going to gear to keypads, to arrow magnifiers, to impulse detectors, though largely impulse detectors and arrow magnifiers in my case. And I will be squirreling away and hoarding these things for the future, because that is the smart, Egnards approved way to do things. Whew. With all of that said, I hope that you found this helpful. Peace out. Have a great rest of your day.